me to the moon. Let me swing among those stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand.
Frank Sinatra, sometimes known as Old Blue Eyes, was an American singer of Italian-American descent and of huge success. He's mostly associated with smooth jazz vocal style, with swing music, with having many film roles, and with knowing influential people, including politicians, but allegedly also including mafioso. His career spans from 1946 to 1998 when he died. In that time, he released about 60 studio albums and goodness knows how many compilations. He has been one of the most successful singers ever worldwide and reputedly one of the most influential American men of the 20th century. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is a live album of Frank Sinatra singing, recorded in Las Vegas in 1966, and he's with Count Basie's big band and conducted by Quincy Jones, who I have also heard of. So to describe this is vocal big band jazz, lounge style, standards, that sort of thing. I knew maybe up to half the songs, which always kind of wins me over with this kind of thing. And I would say that, so I've reviewed a few Sinatra albums now, and I've always been a bit skeptical about Frank Sinatra, probably mostly because in my youth, in the 70s when I was growing up, he was regarded as being a singer for the adults and an oldie and a crooner, etc. And so I've never really paid him much attention. And I think I'm going to say that, well, I am going to say I enjoyed this album. So that's good. So first of all, the band are absolutely amazing. I never thought that I would hear a big band from that kind of era that just sounds so, I'm not sure what the right word is, but jumping. Maybe it's a great recording, but there's just really crisp playing, and it just feels like they're loving it as they're playing, which is great. It really does not feel like it's, I mean, it is obviously arranged, but it doesn't feel as if they're just playing it from the dots, as if they really put a lot of feel into it, and it's which is good. Yeah, and one of the things that you get in concerts, so live performance, is that your dynamic range is better than you tend to have on a recording. So recordings, if they go too quiet, then you stop being able to hear them, and you tend not to have them up very loud much. Whereas, of course, concerts tend to be quite a lot louder, but then that allows you to go quite a lot lower. And actually, this album has used that. The dynamic range really well. So let's talk about Frank's voice and his singing. His singing is really slick. And one thing that I'm slowly coming to realise, it's taken a bit of time to dawn on me, is that he really can sing. He's got really good control. It sounds effortless the way he does it. But he does really have a lot of control over his voice, and he can go high and he can go low, he can do different tones. So he does have different modes of singing that he has for the different kind of ranges of songs. So the fast ones are in a gala, yeah. And then the gentle ones, he's got a more kind of contemplative voice. I never say that there's anywhere near the amount of emotional content as there is in quite a lot of stuff that came later. That's kind of just a feature of the times, really, that it was in some ways emotionally superficial. And that, again, that's okay if you're kind of accepting the premise of that and going, this is, people are there for a good night. They're not there to think deeply about the songs that are being sung. The songwriting, obviously, that wasn't Frank, but there's some really good songwriting in terms of clever wordplay going on in here. and some good tunes. A couple of slower songs. September of My Years I have come across before, and I quite like it. And Very Good Year is, I actually really like this song. So it's probably my favourite song on the album, even though it's a really quite slow contemplative song. And I do enjoy the up-tempo numbers like Fly Me to the Moon, Come Fly With Me, and Get Me to the Church on Time, and stuff like that. Unusually, in the middle, there's an extended monologue, which is entitled Tea Break. And I wonder if this is the orchestra have gone off to have a very quick break, and he's just keeping people amused by chatting to them. And he's actually really good at that. It's not hugely politically correct at times, and there's quite a lot of reference to drinking in there, but his timing, his comedy, his relationship with the crowd is really strong, and that comes across really well. It's so he is all about this kind of cocky swagger persona, but he does create a nice atmosphere in the room. The album itself is very nicely sequenced to get a feeling of a show that kind of develops and has ebb and flow over time. I understand it was not all recorded on one night. It was recorded over, I have no idea how over long, but it says January and February, so it could have been over lots of nights. But the sequencing on the album has been done very well. But his presence and his crowd sort of mood control is great. So I've got a lot of respect for this. I'm thinking that this may be the best way to hear Frank Sinatra, which is to hear live stuff. I think he was obviously a very good performer. I never thought I would enjoy a Frank Sinatra album as much as I enjoyed this. So I did. I'd love to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments. And that's it from me for now.
When I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for small town girls and soft summer nights. We'd hide